Breaking news! A potential move that could change the entire future of the Baltimore Ravens is gaining steam, and it involves one of the most beloved and established stars on the roster. The kind of player fans never thought would be on the trade block. The kind of name that, if moved, could shake the foundation of everything this team has built in the Lamar Jackson era. Rumors are flying, reports are piling up, and we may be closer to a franchise-altering decision than anyone expected. But before we dive into the details, if you're a real Ravens fan, smash that like button. It helps more than you know. And let us know in the comments, if you had to trade one starter to fix the defense, who would it be? This is your team, your opinion matters, so drop it below. Now let's break this down. Mark Andrews, the three-time Pro Bowl tight end, and arguably the heart and soul of the Ravens' passing attack, has officially landed on ESPN's trade radar. Ranked 9th on a list of the 25 most impactful potential trade candidates in the NFL, Andrews' name is now circulating heavily among analysts and insiders. ESPN, The Athletic, and CBS Sports have all floated the same theory. Trading Andrews now could actually make sense for the Ravens. This revelation comes at a volatile moment in the Ravens season. With a 1-5 record to start the year, Baltimore is barely clinging to playoff hopes. And the recent, eyebrow-raising trade that sent pass rusher Odafoa to the Chargers only fuels speculation that the franchise may be quietly retooling and considering all options, yes, even letting go of core veterans. Andrews, who's earning $11 million in the final year of his deal, hasn't exactly lit up the stat sheet this season. Through 6 games, he's posted 21 receptions for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns, solid numbers, but not what you'd expect from a player of his caliber and salary. And with tight end Isaiah likely also nearing free agency, it appears the Ravens may need to make some tough financial decisions at the position soon. That's the cold, calculated part of football that fans hate but front offices live by. Here's the real kicker though. ESPN estimates the probability of a Mark Andrews trade at just 20%. That may sound low, but let's not kid ourselves, 20% is far from zero. And for some analysts, like those inside Ravens circles, that number feels too conservative. They believe the odds are higher, maybe even 25% or 30%. Not overwhelming, but certainly enough to take seriously. Now let's talk potential landing spots. ESPN listed 3 teams where Andrews could make an immediate impact: the San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, and Philadelphia Eagles. But realistically, the 49ers and Cowboys seem like poor fits. San Francisco already has George Kittle, and Dallas just gave Jake Ferguson a sizable payday. It's Philadelphia that might just make sense, and not just a little sense, but a whole lot. The Eagles are in a tight spot with Dallas Goedert, a phenomenal tight end when healthy, but often unavailable due to injury. Their backup, Grant Calcaterra, is injured too, and when healthy, he struggled in blocking assignments. Philly's offense thrives when their tight ends are versatile, and that's where Andrews becomes an intriguing possibility. He's consistent, he's durable, and he can block as well as he can catch. If Eagles GM Howie Roseman is serious about a Super Bowl run, Andrews might be exactly the type of player they need to secure the middle of the field and protect Jalen Hurts. So what could a trade look like? There's been speculation around swapping Andrews for a defensive player, perhaps someone like Azeez Ojulari, who was recently signed by the Eagles. Ojulari has shown promise, and while he's battled some injuries, his pass rushing upside could fill a crucial need on Baltimore's struggling defense. ESPN even labeled Ojulari as an honorable mention on the trade watch list. But here's where things get really fascinating. The logic behind trading Andrews isn't just performance-based, it's about value. Every GM in the NFL knows Andrews will be a free agent soon. That means his trade value drops unless Baltimore sweetens the pot. Imagine a deal where the Ravens package Andrews with one of their 5 fifth-round picks to extract a solid defensive asset. It's not far-fetched. In fact, it might be the only path to a meaningful return. And let's be honest, if the Ravens had a 3rd-round offer for Andrews back in March, he would have been gone. That didn't happen. So now, it's about flexibility. Use your surplus of draft picks, make a bold move, and start reloading on defense. Even if it hurts to say goodbye to a fan favorite. Then there's the emotional angle. Andrews has been more than just a player in Baltimore. He's been a symbol of consistency, toughness, and dedication. From his rapport with Lamar Jackson to his leadership in the locker room, it's hard to imagine the Ravens' offense without him. But football isn't sentimental, and if you're looking purely at on-field production and team needs, you have to ask, is now the right time? Because when we look at what Mark Andrews represents, it goes far beyond the stat sheet. For years, he's been Lamar Jackson's most trusted target, a safety valve in crunch time situations, and a reliable red zone threat. Fans have witnessed his clutch performances, his ability to body up defenders, and his chemistry with Lamar that's hard to manufacture. So for the Ravens to even consider moving him, it tells you just how dramatically things have shifted in Baltimore. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The emotional value of a player doesn't always match their on-field or market value. Andrews may be a fan favorite, but he's also a tight end in the final year of his deal on a team with a losing record and showing signs of diminished explosiveness. His 2024 campaign, by all accounts, has been underwhelming, especially for a guy pulling in $11 million. If the Ravens front office is eyeing the future, and all signs suggest they are, it's not crazy to think this is the moment to cash in. And speaking of the future, that brings us to the second layer of this story, Bateman and Keaton Mitchell. Let's start with Bateman. It was only a few months ago that the Ravens were reportedly shopping Bateman during their pursuit of George Pickens. A report from insider Jordan Schultz revealed that Baltimore had preliminary talks with the Cowboys about a potential Bateman deal. Nothing came of it then, but it proves this isn't a new idea. And now, after 6 games into the season, Bateman has just 11 receptions for 120 yards and 1 touchdown. That's less than 2 catches and 20 yards per game for a former first-round pick who was supposed to help open up the field for Lamar. Worse yet, there was that moment against the Texans when Bateman seemed to slow down on a deep route that ended in a costly interception. Whether it was miscommunication, effort, or something else entirely, that kind of play only adds fuel to the trade fire. The Ravens clearly aren't getting the return on investment they hoped for, and in a WR-hungry league, there could still be suitors willing to bet on his upside. One of those suitors might be the New England Patriots, who are aggressively searching for wideouts. They're reportedly in on names like Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, and Chris Olave, but if they swing and miss on the big names, a player like Bateman, young, under team control, with first-round pedigree, might suddenly look appealing. Would the Ravens get much in return? That's the question. A 4th-rounder might be wishful thinking. A 3rd? That's a tough sell unless there's a bidding war. But given Bateman's lack of production, even a 4th-round pick might be worth considering at this point. The harsh reality is this: if the Ravens could move Bateman for anything close to that value, they might just take it. Then there's Keaton Mitchell. This is the one that hits a little differently. Mitchell is a rookie who showed electric playmaking potential during the preseason, but for reasons known only to the Ravens coaching staff, he's been buried on the depth chart. He was a healthy scratch for the first 4 weeks and saw just 15 snaps across 2 games, mostly on special teams. And yet, fans can't help but wonder, why isn't he getting more opportunities? There's a strong argument to be made that Mitchell still has something to offer, especially as a change of pace back in a duo with Derrick Henry. The Ravens could have one of the most dynamic 1-2 backfields in the league, but instead, Mitchell's usage has been confusing at best. That's likely why ESPN mentioned him as a player to watch near the deadline. But if Mitchell's role isn't expanding, it could mean one of 2 things. Either the Ravens don't trust his durability, or they simply don't see him as part of the long-term picture. If that's the case, a straight-up deal to a team in need of an explosive back makes sense. There are plenty of contenders looking for depth and speed. Mitchell could be an affordable option with high upside. So where does this leave the Ravens? It paints a picture of a team at a crossroads. After a disappointing start, Baltimore may be taking a hard look at its core and deciding who stays, who goes, and who can still contribute in a meaningful way this season. Trading a name like Mark Andrews would be a seismic move, not just for the locker room, but for the identity of the offense. Trading Bateman or Mitchell would be quieter, but still tell us a lot about where the front office sees this team heading. At the end of the day, it comes down to one thing: value. Are the Ravens in a position to ride out the rest of this season with a